I'm back in Thanet, down on the chalk, and I'm recording this outside on my field mic, so apologies for the wind. I'm on the sea wall. As I stand here, I'm struck at how we don't have detailed words for some very important things, and I'm going to point things out as I see them. The backwash. There's a billow coming over, literally a large wave of out there in the sea. There's the breakers, a wave that rolls over onto a beach. There's the caps, or the top part of the waves. If they are white, like today's cold North Sea, then they are crests, or white tops. It's just gone low tide, but it's coming back in. I can see the high water mark on the beach. Before it reached that point, we would have called the water coming in the flood tide, reaching high tide, probably about 7 o'clock this morning. There's a new moon next week. There'll be a spring tide. That's when there's the greatest difference between high and low water. Also, after a full moon. In between those phases, we get the neap tides. Behind me is the land made of chalk, and in front of me the sand, the rocks, the sea, and the sky. I can see ripples on the surface of pools. There are rollers further out. Some break and spume across the sand. Spume is the name for the bubbles waves make. It's not rough enough for white horses, but the sea still swells and heaves, creating troughs between its crests. And I know that if I was on a cliff top and not down here, I'd see the undercurrent that pops around the coast just offshore. And if I was in the water, I'd feel the undertow moving in the opposite direction to the water above it as it laps against the beach. It's late afternoon and the sun is nearly setting, but there's sun glitter on the waves from the sun setting round the coast. Words are there to confirm our realities. They are the scaffold by which all of humanity keeps a loose understanding of the chaos together. There is a reason we have so many words for rain and wind. When experiences are elemental, you can be pretty sure that the person next to you is experiencing the same sensation as you are. But it's not good enough just to say, it's raining. What kind? Is it a drizzle, a deluge, a downpour, a squall? By giving these things names, we can confirm our reality to one another. Yes, the thing I'm experiencing is the same thing that you're experiencing, and it's called X. It's funny, isn't it? I can stand here and name all of these things about the sea around me, and yet we have so few names or terms for depression. I said the word spume earlier, a word for the bubbles that came from the waves. Why don't we have a word so that everybody knows it means when you say you feel like you're disappearing? In her novel, Alaska, Sue Salibar described another depressive moment as, for a moment, she let herself be defeated, wished herself not exactly annihilation, but into a temporary absence, into being nowhere and no one just for a little while. We, or I, needed a word for that too last year. I've been through a weird emotional journey in the last 2 years, since I quit the last startup I was working at full time because of stress. I was getting chest pains at 32 and was holding so much tension in my legs I could barely walk. At the end of 2017, I fell into a deep dark hole and tried to dig myself a rest for most of 2018. This year was more like walking out of a long shadow. I am pleased to say with confidence that I am much, much better now. But it's taken a long time, and I'm so grateful to Eve and my friends for their support. But it's weird, isn't it? We have so many words to accurately describe and confirm the world around us, but fall short when we reach words to accurately describe how we are feeling. Major, chronic, manic, periodic. These are all classifications that in my mind fall short and are inadequate to the truth of the matter. It's not just important for people to be more open about our mental states and mental lives, but to find ways to evoke and communicate the things that 1 in 4 people will be affected by at some point in their lives. We need not create new words for words' sake, but to develop and adopt a more poetic language around our mental and inner lives. Our ancestors had the 4 temperaments: melancholic, phlegmatic, sanguine, and choleric. Perhaps we could look there, before the DSM stole melancholic and medicalised it. I'm away next week and have a guest attempting the 301 format. Look out for that, and I'll speak to you all again in December.